Freedom is something that our forefathers fought, bled, and died for. It's the most valuable thing that we possess. And the first freedom, the freedom from which all other freedoms flow, is freedom of speech. It is the foundation of democracy.
When it comes to Facebook, you know, people say, oh, well, Facebook is a private company and Facebook should be allowed to do whatever they want with their private company. But I'd argue that Facebook and these social media giants now, they hold unprecedented powers. And just like we have some sort of regulation in media, although I don't know if that's the best example because the ABC seem to get away with it, but there should be something to protect conservatives, because if you look, I had almost 200,000 followers. Fraser Anning has 50,000 and he's a sitting member. But only weeks before I started my campaign to run here in Victoria, Facebook decided that I am hate speech. Literally, I am. I asked them which post. There was no post. It was the vibe. Anyone watch The Castle? It was the vibe. So they get to decide, and we know that a lot of this is based around the American elections, and Facebook are now, and Twitter are now purposely shutting down conservatives, activists, and now even politicians. They are meddling in Australian politics because they feel like Trump only got in because of social media, which is true. Because Trump was able to speak directly to the people, but they believe now that if they censor any conservative, they can turn it right round. But we're here to say what? Zuck off!
My Facebook page, as far as I know, is taken down. We've never called for any violence. Neither Avi or myself have called for violence against anyone and never will. My Facebook page was taken down because I said things like we should stop funding the Palestinian Authority. This year we give the Palestinian Authority $43.8 million. They use that for a thing called pay to slay, where innocent Israeli citizens, women, children and men, if you are a Palestinian, you kill some of these, then you'll get a reward from the Palestinian Authority. And that's where our tax dollars are going. And when I call for that in the Senate, all three parties, Liberal, Labor and the Greens, vote against me every time. They're the same people who, the day after my speech, they're crying and hugging and wringing their hands. and they never damped a tissue, but they pretended to cry. A lot of this stuff that we're, you know, this trying to take away our freedom of speech is coming out of the United Nations. Now, I've been calling for us to get out of Paris and to get out of the United Nations. Yes! They have no business here, and they have no business with us, and our politicians like Marise Payne, who's over there now, signing away your rights to everything, she has no business doing that on your behalf. By the way, you know, that speech, that part, you know, with the final solution, what was actually said was the final solution to our immigration problem is for the Australian people to have a vote via a plebiscite. Yeah! And I will still continue to push that agenda, because we've had votes on all sorts of things like same-sex marriage and everything else. Why shouldn't we have the right to have a vote on not just how many people come here, but who comes here, what the makeup of this country will be like later on. You have the right to the freedom of speech. He's probably being supported by all of you here. Yes, so the first thing that goes in a communist country is your freedom of speech. Just recently.
Good. Come on, guys. How's everybody? We're celebrating free speech today. Make some noise. Before I get started, I've written down a few things that I want to address today. I want to just start off by asking a couple of questions. Who here agrees with the statement that Australia is the best country in the world? Who agrees? And it's my firm belief that there is no greater honour and privilege than being able to call oneself an Australian. But it's what our forefathers before us have done and sacrificed that has made this country what it is. And unfortunately, right here in 2018, we're facing some threats to the very basic of freedoms and human rights that unfortunately a lot of us have grown to essentially take for granted. The first thing I want to say is that the concept of hate speech is a lie. Okay, so you see on Facebook taking down conservative pages for supposed community standards violations, hate speech. It doesn't exist. Hate speech is a term designed to discourage language that certain people may find offensive. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone here when I say that under no circumstances should feelings ever supersede facts, logic, and common sense. Countries that deny its citizens freedom of speech are the worst violators of human rights in the world. Because at the end of the day, freedom to think, freedom to criticize, freedom to express our opinions and to speak our minds is the most fundamental of human rights. So therefore, the following statement holds true that freedom of speech is paramount to freedom itself.
Randomly, my page was shut down with 176,000 followers. When I appealed it and asking to clarify what breached their terms and conditions, they said it was hate speech. No specific post, the general vibe of the page. Look, I would look at American politics, and it's coming up to the midterms, and you've got 2020. I believe, and it's you can see what's happening. They are targeting specifically conservatives. You have left-wing, even here, politicians like Faruqi, the new Greens one, or her son from ABC, who post the most vile, anti-white, racist content and never get shut down. They are intentionally targeting conservatives, and I believe it's because they blame themselves for the rise of Trump, it is right that Trump got in because he bypassed the media talking directly to the people. But this is where the problem lies, is that now they have unprecedented power. And I'm not a man for regulations, but there has to be something to ensure that it is a level playing field. Otherwise, they are meddling in politics, and they have the power to do so. And it is dangerous. Now, it's not just Facebook. I think we need to look at all social media, and they all have to conform to the same thing, where you can't have people with such far left-wing attitudes to hold such power to influence governments worldwide. It is dangerous. I think, just like in Australia, I think that both Facebook, any social media, as well as our own government, need to make it clear. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. Incitement to violence, everybody should be against, and we should start to enforce that. And also online. But there should be no silencing, no censoring anyone for anything. If you don't like someone, everyone should have the right to block another person. Stop somebody from hurting your feelings. No one forces you to come onto my Facebook page to see what I'm saying. And the interesting thing is that once they did that to me, I open a new page, and suddenly thousands come pouring back because people are looking for what I'm saying. So it's resonating with people, and that scares them. And a lot of Jewish groups, for example, push the idea of these, or push the lobby for these laws like 18C. And for them, it's all about Holocaust deniers. They don't want Holocaust deniers out spreading their vile hatred. But I think it makes that appealing. And I believe we should allow these Holocaust deniers to speak. Let them talk. And let me talk back. I'd rather hear my enemy. I'd rather know who they are. Let them expose themselves. The moment you send things underground, you're only setting us up for a bitter end. You know, so many people to complain on my Facebook page that I'm allowing these trolls. You know, and you know what? I'm not even saying like there are a lot of pages that stop people from trolling their page, which I don't think stands against freedom of speech, because freedom of speech doesn't mean that I'm going to allow you to come into my house and talk, you know, say whatever you want. It just means you have the right in your space to say whatever you want. But I think that even on my page, you know what? Let the haters say what they want. You know, unless somebody's trolling and they're just annoying the look of the page, and let them. They say the nastiest stuff about me, half of it I'll agree with. And those that invoke the Holocaust don't give a shit about Jews. So, you know, Fraser Anning has, in the short time he's been in Parliament, has stood up for Jews more than all those outraged mongrels have done their entire political careers. They are liars and scammers, and anyone that actually has sat down and spoken to Fraser Anning will realise he's a regular person. He is not a politician, and that's what I love about him. And that's why I know when he used the term, and on that there was 5 other instances in the last year where people have used final solutions. It was just in his case they picked it up.
Simon, nice to meet you, Simon. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Rob Canada is magnificent in relationship with